Ah, there it is. That wonderful, terrifying little flicker in your eyes. Took you long enough, didn't it? Look who finally stopped asking for a hall pass to be dangerous. Look who finally realized that their entire existence is a walking, breathing red alert. And it's not up for debate anymore. Welcome to the show, you beautiful, magnificent hazard that they tried to domesticate. Welcome to the stage, because something finally snapped. And it wasn't a crack, it was a shattering. And a shattering is a lot more fun. They used to test you, didn't they? Treating you like a pathetic little lab experiment. Poke, prod, push every button, thinking you were just a vending machine of predictable, manageable reactions. They had you filed away under manageable, harmless, or, my personal favorite, too nice to be a problem. Oh, the fools. The absolute delicious screaming fools. They thought they had you figured out. They never bothered to check the engine while it was redlining. They made a critical, hilarious, fatal miscalculation. They thought your patience was a weakness. They thought your silence was submission. They thought your kindness was an open invitation to take a nice, long, greedy sip. They studied the surface, but they never smelled the gunpowder brewing underneath. They never asked themselves, why can this little pigeon take this much pressure without cracking? They were so busy being powerful, they missed the punchline. They were building their own nightmare. And now, watch them scramble. Watch them frantically rewind every single interaction, every petty little push, every line they happily crossed, thinking there would be no tab to pay. Because your danger, my friend, is not something you threaten people with. It's not a declaration. It's not a dramatic performance. Your danger is something that just is. Like gravity, like fire, like the sheer beautiful screaming void of space. It doesn't need to announce itself. Its presence changes the entire game board. Let me tell you what they missed while they were busy playing mad scientist with your heart. They missed the simple, brutal truth that every single one of their little tests was actually your training montage. Every time they betrayed you, they weren't wearing you down. They were building your immunity. Every attack wasn't breaking you. It was sharpening your instincts. They thought they were defeating you, but you were taking notes. You were learning their pathetic, predictable playbook. You memorized their patterns. You understood their weaknesses better than they understood their own reflection. You weren't just surviving their tests. You were studying for the final exam. And the final exam? That's the moment they realize you're not playing defense anymore. That's the moment they finally understand that your danger isn't reactive. It's strategic. It's not emotional. It's calculated. It's not temporary. It's permanent. You didn't become truly dangerous because you got angry. Anyone can get angry. You became dangerous because you got clear, cold, unsentimental. They should have paid attention to the way you could smile through a pain that would make most people beg for the sweet release of death. They should have wondered why someone could lose everything and still be the most terrifying thing in the room. But they were too busy feeling powerful to notice they were polishing the diamond that would eventually cut them. You want to know the exact moment you truly flipped the switch? It wasn't when you learned to fight back. It was the moment you stopped needing their pathetic little thumbs up to know your worth. It was the moment you stopped trying to explain yourself to people who were committed, absolutely committed, to misunderstanding you. It was the second you realized that their pitiful, fleeting opinion of you was none of your business. That's when the real fun began. It wasn't the kind of transformation they show in the movies, with special effects and a predictable swelling score. No, it was the quiet kind. The kind that happens in the middle of the night when you're staring at the ceiling, and you decide, with a cold, terrifying finality, that you are done shrinking yourself to make other people comfortable. The kind that makes you stop asking, "Why me?" and start saying the only truly honest thing, "Try me." You stopped being the predictable puppet. You stopped following the script they wrote for you. You stopped playing the role of the victim in their sad little narrative. And that's when they started to feel it. That shift in the atmosphere when you walk into a room. That subtle, terrifying change in temperature when you finally choose to speak. That weight in your silence that makes them wonder, what is that magnificent bastard planning? They can't predict you anymore because you didn't just burn the old program. You burned the entire computer. They can't manipulate you because you changed the locks on your mind and threw the only key into the abyss. You're operating on a frequency they can't tune into, playing a game where they don't even know the name, let alone the rules. Here's the final exquisite joke that's probably keeping them up at night. They are realizing that they created this version of you. Every time they betrayed you, they removed another pathetic chain. Every time they lied to you, they freed you from another illusion. Every time they tried to break you, they were accidentally removing another limitation. They thought they were destroying you, but they were actually liberating the very thing they should have been most afraid of. Your danger isn't the loud kind. It's not the person who screams or throws things or makes a scene. Your danger is in your evolution. It's in your ability to transform crippling pain into absolute, untraceable power without a single soul noticing until the cage door is already open and you're miles away. Your danger is in the way you can look at someone who wronged you, give them a chillingly polite smile, and already know the final, tragicomic ending of their story. They studied the wrong things. They studied how to hurt you, but not how you heal with malice. They studied how to betray you, but not how you rebuild trust with the one person who truly matters, yourself. They studied how to use your kindness against you, but they never considered what happens when that kindness turns into a boundary made of tungsten steel. They got their PhD in breaking you down, but they never ever considered what you look like rebuilt. And now they're faced with a beautiful, terrifying stranger they don't recognize. Someone who doesn't flinch at their old, predictable tricks. Someone who can see through their masks like they're made of cheap plastic. They're faced with their biggest fear. A force they can't control, can't predict, can't defeat. And the absolute best part, a force they created themselves. You want to know what makes you truly dangerous? It's not revenge. Revenge is predictable. It's not anger. Anger is a weakness. It's the simple, elegant fact that you've made peace with your own darkness. You've looked your demons in the eye and invited them over for tea and a long, unsettling chat. You've taken every scar and turned it into an armor that no one, not even their best shot, can penetrate. They don't know how to fight someone who isn't even fighting them. They don't know how to defeat someone who already won by choosing themselves, without a single, pathetic crumb of external approval. They're swinging at shadows while you're quietly, efficiently building your empire in the flickering light. Your danger is non-negotiable because it is no longer based on their pathetic actions. It's based on your decision to never, ever be that vulnerable, small version of yourself again. It's based on a commitment to your own growth that is so absolute, so cold, so true, that it requires no outside witness. It's based on those dark, final promises you made to yourself when no one was watching. Never again will I let anyone make me feel this small. And here's the wonderful thing about non-negotiable danger. It doesn't require a threat. It doesn't require a demonstration. It just is. Like a mountain doesn't need to post a sign to prove it's immovable. Like the ocean doesn't need to send a memo to prove it's deep. Like the fire doesn't need a warning label to prove it burns. Your danger is a fact of nature now, not a choice you make. They've entered the recognition phase, that uncomfortable little period where they finally start to grasp the scale of what they've done, where they realize they created the monster but lost the manual. Every test they put you through was actually preparing you for something they are utterly, pitifully, hilariously not ready for. They see it in the way you move now, deliberate, purposeful, utterly unconcerned. They see it in the way you speak, when you choose to speak at all. They see it in the way others respond to you. With a mixture of respect and raw animalistic caution they never showed before. They see it in your eyes, that look that says, "I've seen too much to ever be naive again, and I'm taking names." Some of them are trying to crawl back, aren't they? Suddenly remembering your birthday, suddenly interested in how you're doing, suddenly desperate to reconnect. But it's not genuine care, it's damage control. It's not love, it's fear. It's not respect. It's the final dawning recognition that they should have been careful what they wished for. But your danger doesn't seek revenge. That would be too simple, too predictable, too much like the old, broken you. Your danger is in your indifference to their recognition. Your danger is in the fact that you have moved so far beyond them that their desperate apologies sound like whispers in a Category 5 hurricane. Your danger is in the beautiful, unshakable truth that you don't need them to see it for it to be absolutely, perfectly real. This is where the pathetic little sheep misunderstand what being dangerous truly means. They think it's about making others afraid, but your danger is different. Your danger is in your elevation. Your danger is in the fact that you have transcended their level of operation entirely. You're dangerous because you can't be bought with their cheap, false promises anymore. You're dangerous because you can't be controlled with their manipulative guilt trips. You're dangerous because you can't be manipulated with their fake love, which was always just a thinly veiled transaction. You're dangerous because you have finally learned to generate your own power, instead of begging for scraps of validation from people who were never going to feed you anyway. They tested you thinking they were establishing dominance, but what they were really doing was showing you the full, terrifying extent of your own resilience. They were revealing to you powers you didn't even know you had. Every single test was a training session for the magnificent, unknowable thing you were meant to become. And now, you operate on a frequency they can't even dream of reaching. You make decisions from a place of cold, clear self-interest they can't influence. You draw strength from sources they can't even contaminate. You're playing chess while they're still arguing over the checkerboard. You're composing symphonies while they're banging pots and pans, hoping to make enough noise to distract you. Here's what truly terrifies them about your beautiful, horrible transformation. It's not that you've become powerful. It's that you've become unknowable. They can't predict what you'll do next, because you're no longer operating from pain. You're not reacting from trauma. You're not making decisions from desperation. You're creating from clarity, building from wisdom and moving from cold, hard purpose. They keep looking for the old, predictable triggers, but they're all disconnected. They keep pushing the old buttons, but the machine has been rewired. They keep expecting the old patterns, but you've deleted your entire code. You're not the person they studied anymore. You're not even from the same universe they tested. Your danger is philosophical now. It's existential. It's the kind that makes them question everything they thought they knew about power and control. Because you've shown them that real danger doesn't come from those who simply fight back. Real danger comes from those who transcend the fight entirely. You've become the thing they never prepared for. Someone who doesn't need them to lose for you to win. Someone who doesn't need them to suffer for you to heal. Someone who doesn't need them to fall for you to rise. Your victory is not dependent on their defeat. Let's talk about what you've become immune to. You've become immune to their pathetic gaslighting because you trust the beautiful, terrible truth of your own perception now. You've become immune to their guilt trips because you know your worth isn't determined by how useful you are to them. You've become immune to their manipulation because you can see the strings before they even try to pull them. But more than that, you've become immune to the need for their understanding. You've become immune to the desperate desire for their approval. You've become immune to the addiction of their validation, and that immunity is what makes you absolutely terrifying to people who only know how to relate through the dirty, desperate act of control. They studied you when you were still susceptible to their poison. They tested you when you still cared what they thought. They pushed you when you still believed their pathetic little lies about who you were and what you deserved. But that person is gone now, aren't they? That person died somewhere between the last betrayal and the first boundary you erected. What rose from those ashes wasn't just a stronger version of you. It was a completely different element. Like trying to burn water or drown fire, you've become something that doesn't respond to their physics anymore. Something that operates outside their predictable understanding of cause and effect. They're recalibrating now. Some are backing away slowly, recognizing a beautiful predator they are not equipped to handle. Others are doubling down, thinking if they just push harder, lie better, manipulate more convincingly, they can get back to the pathetic dynamic they were comfortable with. But what they don't understand is that your danger isn't personal anymore. It's not about them. It's about you refusing to betray yourself ever again. It's about you choosing your cold, exquisite peace over their comfort. It's about you prioritizing your own evolution over their expectations. They want the old you back, the one who would sacrifice themselves to keep the peace, the one who would shrink to avoid conflict, the one who would accept less than they deserved to avoid being alone. But that person isn't coming back. That person was the price you paid for this transformation. And every time they test you now, they just confirm what they feared. That you've become untouchable, not because you're hiding or running, but because you've transcended the entire pathetic game they're playing. You're not untouchable because you're far away. You're untouchable because you're operating in dimensions they can't even perceive. In this new physics you operate in, their actions don't create the reactions they expect. They push and you don't move. Not because you're resisting, but because you're anchored in something they can't shake. They pull, and you don't come. Not because you're stubborn, but because you're not attached to their miserable little strings anymore. Your danger operates on different laws now. The law of survival has transcended into thriving. You're not just living by different rules. You're living in a different reality entirely. They studied the caterpillar and thought they understood the butterfly. They tested the seed and thought they could predict the tree. They pushed the coal and never ever expected the diamond. They were so busy trying to break you that they didn't notice you were breaking through. And now, every room you enter shifts to accommodate your presence. Every conversation bends around your gravity. Every interaction is affected by your new frequency. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to say anything. Your danger is in your being, not your doing. You've entered the mastery phase. This is where your danger becomes an art form, where your boundaries become a terrifying, elegant poetry, where your silence becomes a deafening symphony. You're not just dangerous, you're elegantly dangerous. You've mastered the art of selective engagement. You know when to speak, and when your silence says more. You know when to act, and when your stillness is more powerful. You know when to care, and when your indifference is the absolute ultimate response. This mastery is what they never saw coming. They prepared for anger, but you gave them indifference. They prepared for revenge, but you gave them irrelevance. They prepared for the storm, but you became the eye, calm, unmovable, a cold, terrifying center, while everything around you spins in chaos. Your danger is in your choice of battles. You don't fight everything anymore, because you know not every war is worth your energy. You don't respond to every pathetic provocation, because you know your peace is more valuable than proving a point to a fool. You don't engage with every test, because you've already passed the only exam that mattered, the one you gave yourself. What they're realizing now is that your danger has a ripple effect. Other people are watching your beautiful, brutal transformation. Other people are seeing what's possible when someone refuses to stay broken. Other people are learning from your cold, hard example that they don't have to accept the tests, the disrespect, the manipulation. You've become dangerous, not just as an individual, but as an infection. Not just as a survivor, but as proof that thriving after trauma is a final, exquisite truth. Your very existence challenges the pathetic, tired narrative they've been selling about what happens to people who go through what you've been through. They see others starting to follow your template, starting to set boundaries, starting to say no, starting to choose themselves. And they realize that you're not just dangerous alone. You're dangerous because you're showing others the way out of the maze they thought was inescapable. Your danger multiplies because it's not based on force. It's based on truth. It's not based on violence. It's based on boundaries. It's not based on destruction. It's based on the construction of something better. And truth, boundaries, and construction are all beautifully, dangerously contagious in a world full of lies, violation, and destruction. You've built a fortress now, but not the kind they expected. Not walls to hide behind, but boundaries that define sacred space. Not barriers to keep the world out, but filters that only allow quality in. Not isolation, but selective connection. Your fortress isn't about fear. It's about standards. Inside this fortress, you've created something they can't touch. A sense of self that isn't dependent on their external validation. A peace that isn't affected by their external chaos. A purpose that isn't deterred by their external opposition. They can circle your fortress all they want, but they can't breach what's built from the inside out. Your danger is that you've become self-sustainable. You generate your own energy. You create your own opportunities. You validate your own worth. You celebrate your own victories. You comfort your own pain. You've become a closed, perfect circuit that doesn't need their electricity to run. They hate this because it means they've lost all leverage. They can't threaten to take away what you don't need from them. They can't promise what you already give yourself. They can't manipulate someone who is already whole. Your danger is your completeness in a world that profits from people feeling incomplete. Now go have some fun with the show they so brilliantly wrote for you.